Hi everyone. Hello, welcome to Taiwan. Hi Jan, how are you? And want to say hi from your favorite live streamer. And of course, that is. I'm gonna move this. That's a fantasy that I allow myself. But yeah. So how's everything? Yeah, move the background a little bit. I'm usually streaming, so the perspective is this way, and you're looking, behind me over there. But decided to get a little bit different perspective, and the lights this way and all that stuff. And Ken Ron, how are you? Fist bump to you too. Hey, that's Dean. Wow, on welcome on Twitter Live. Man, I haven't seen you for a long time. How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. Mark, how's everything? Wow. Hey, Matthew. Hey, goodness. Wow, I don't stream for a week and everybody shows up in the first 2 seconds. I love it. It's great. All right. Excellent. No, we've been good here. You guys have probably been, keeping up a little bit, of course, in the late night group and things that are going on here. But listen. I'm on the roof of my house. I got no mask on. We're not talking about that. This is rum on the roof. Now, you guys remember a long time ago, I used to do rum and scope. Remember, down at Win-Win's, and I would get 4 eggs on a plate with some soy sauce, or they call the Jiangyo Gao, which is the thick style, of soy sauce. I miss those days. Boy, do I miss those days. Win-Win's is dark now. It's closed. You can't open. But it looks like in another 7 days, the government's going to revisit whether we can start having in-restaurant dining. And so if we do that, then she's going to be open, and then we can go back. Now, we can't call it scope anymore, so I think that's so nice, Jan. And I'm glad you were able to finally join us, in the late night group. And we understand that you're really, really tired. So let me show you something funny, okay? Now, by the way, I'm on, let me see, Sunday, Thursday, so that's, day 18. I'm just starting to introduce a little bit of solid food back into my diet. I'm down a solid 9 kilograms. I'm going for more. I'm going to go to Sunday and reassess. But what I'm afraid of is that I'm not getting enough. I take a lot of nutritional supplements, but I'm not getting some of the vitamin content, that I should be getting by eating food. So I ate an apple this evening. That's the only solid food I've had in a couple of days. I had a meal on Sunday, 1 meal. But I want to show you this shirt. And so I don't know if you can tell, but I am significantly thinner, because I used to, be out to about there, right? And so, yeah, I'm not trying to show that off. What I want to show is this shirt. This shirt is absolutely hilarious. I got this in Thailand at the airport. And what this is Thai is a kind of a hard language, and for example, if you don't know how to say stuff, you just wear this shirt. It's amazing how fast you can drop it if you just stop eating after the first couple days. So if you don't know what to say, you can just look at the shirt. Like this one here says delicious, which I happen to know is aloy in Thai, but this one says like where's restroom. And so you can go like this, and you go. This means come here. In Asia, this means come here, and thanks, Dean. Well, it's about willpower, okay? And so let me just stop for a second. I'm gonna show you the rest of the shirt in a minute. People ask me, MJ, how do you do it? How do you do it? So yes, I do. As a matter of fact, that's a very good question. Of course, you're always perceptive. That Thai place that has the karaoke, I did a short live stream from there. There were some Indonesian and Thai people that were singing karaoke together. That place has the best kapau. That's just, and I've been dreaming about this, right? I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna get their deep fried pork, and I don't care if they're open or not. I will wait outside and they can make it to go. But you won't be able to tell me anything. And you absolutely will not be able to get between that and me. So, good question. Thank you. Now, let's go back down to my shirt. This is really funny because it's in 3 different rows. And you do have to kind of pull it to see it because, you know, nobody can look straight down, right? So this one says, what does it say? Gosh, it's too dark in here. Ashtray, please. Oh, I'm not going to need that one. Ashtray, please. And this one says, not so hot. Not so spicy hot is what this means. Now, I do know how to say this in Thai, and it's pet nitnoi. Pet means spicy. Nitnoi means a little bit. So what they're saying, not so spicy. And this one means same one, please. See, what happens is a lot of times you'll be in Thailand or, you know, at a Thai restaurant anywhere, and the food comes out of the kitchen and it's like fantastic, and you know, you're following it from the kitchen all the way over to the table, and you're going, oh my goodness, I should have ordered that. Dave, how you doing? Fist bump to you. You're going, oh my goodness, I should have ordered that. So you like call the waitress over, she comes over and you just go like this, okay, and then you go like that. It's so I want one of those like that. So that's what that is. This is my Thai translator shirt, Dave. I haven't had this on in a long time. Some of these other ones this is water, please, beer, please, and I like how they all say please. And this says menu, please. And what is this? What's the best? Like if you want to ask them what's the best dish they have or the best special. And what's this one? This is, oh, do you have tom yum guang, which is a spicy Thai soup that everybody loves. That you guys have seen it. It's actually orange and it has bay leaves in it, and oh, it's just fantastic. So, Dave, so good to see you. How's everything? And I've noticed you haven't been on as much, streaming as much, because I was, believe it or not, I was on somebody else's stream. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Fist bump to you. Glad to have you with us live. Appreciate. Hey, Jay boy. Fist bump to you. Didn't see you come in. I was on somebody else's stream on Sunday, just watching, viewing, and somebody said, "Where's Dave?" And I said, "He's probably out live streaming somewhere, because that's your habit." So yeah, it's great. I love it. This is amazing, because you know what? I've been getting discouraged. Betty, how are you? My goodness, fist bump to you. Wow. Betty, every time I see your username, I always think of Steve. Just kind of flashed on that for a second. So, I have decided, and I want to talk to you about this, because I did post this on the livestreaming.technology forum. By the way, that is a forum, livestreaming.technology. But I want to talk about that in a second. Before I get into that, I know I wasn't going to talk about COVID tonight. I'm not going to. But what I want to tell you is I have been, looking at YouTube and social media, and there's something that I see over and over that's happening, that people are being silenced for just having an opinion. And, whether or not you agree with somebody's opinion is one thing, but nobody should be silenced, just because they have an opinion that's not the mainstream. Such opinions aren't in of themselves dangerous. I mean, you can tell if someone is acting dangerously or not, but just, And so what I have done is I've created a new forum, and like all forums, it takes time to get going, but I wanted to show you this is the header for it. It's called the Pandemic Community. And the hook line is, you're not alone, tell your story, because I want people to have like a censorship-free platform. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to this is it. And it's, of course, it's HTTPS and the whole thing. But if you just go to your browser and you type the pandemic and then and community, you'll get there. And so right now I think we have 4 members. But one person calls himself COVID-19 survivor. He found our site, and I assume it's a he wrote like about, catching. This is before, vaccinations were widely available in the United States. He's from the U.S. and he caught it. He caught COVID-19, and he talked about being in the hospital and then the after effects, because he's apparently like a long hauler and stuff. And I was like, that happened like 2 weeks after I started the forum, and I was like, you know what? That made the whole thing worth it, just for somebody to be. And he's not complaining, and he's not looking for sympathy. He's just telling us, people they just want you to listen to them, Yeah, that's right. That's all people want. They want it. They want to matter, their voice. They just want somebody to listen. So, thank you, Mark. That would be good. And you be completely anonymous with your, your username. If you do so, please, send me a private message and let me know who you are. But that would be good. I'll leave it up there. I'm not. You guys know me. I'm the worst self-promoter in the world, because it's just. Anyway, but I'll leave it up there. I got live streaming technology. I got another one too, Behringer.world, but that's for mostly discussions in the audio field with Behringer consoles. Behringer equipment. But I'm beginning to come to the conclusion, and this is a discussion that, it's amazing. It's kind of, I'm not going to say it's fateful. I don't believe in fate, but it's very fortunate that like practically everybody that follows me is here right this second. Because I have come to the conclusion that I think it's time to retire the Taiwan Live TV project as a project. I originally started it in April of 2016, and within 3 months I achieved 1,000 followers on Periscope. That was still, I would say, in the early, good old days of Periscope. And many of you remember those days. I did a scope broadcast. See, I based my project on Periscope, and I did a broadcast of that huge Buddha, the big bronze Buddha down in Kaohsiung, and that's when I crossed the 1,000 subscriber threshold. People were telling me during that scope. But I don't want to retire live streaming. What I think I want to do is, and I have to be careful how, this is 21, I have to be careful how I use the word transition, but I want to transition, I think, into another focus. Because see, originally, if you go to TaiwanLive.tv, it's a website. All it is embedded YouTube videos. I had a lot more in store for it, and things just, Twitter had their ideas, and they're allowed to do whatever they want with their platform, but they screwed up a lot of people like me who thought that Periscope was going to be something that we could use and establish for business, especially with catch. Now, I don't want to get into that, but I'm just saying that that's what I built it on, and then the carpet was yanked out from underneath me, and I was kind of left, looking for options. So the whole point of Taiwan Live TV from the very beginning was been to introduce Taiwan to the world. Now, I know I've done that for you, of my followers. I know I've done that, and I know many of you have told me that your opinion is significantly different about Taiwan than it was, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And that's good. That's the goal. But for some strange reason, not really, it hasn't had the universal appeal. And I'm going to tell you, YouTube is a very difficult territory, because Dave, who's in this live stream right now, I think is the best live streamer in existence. And his total subscription number is very low compared to people who do, in my opinion, ridiculous content, but it's cleverly edited. It's a completely different thing when you are live streaming, and you know, I'm not going to go back and edit any of this. If something messes up, I'm just going to like turn it off, you know what I'm saying? So, and I don't do a lot of flashy thumbnails and all these things. But I also have not been doing the kind of content that I originally intended to do, which is more of the field work, like the Buddha, like riding the train, like going to temples, like showing you restaurants and things. And I now believe that it was a mistake for me to take the late night show here to this channel, because I used to do it on my personal channel, MJ Klein, on YouTube. I've got 92 subscribers there. I don't care about subscribers. I don't care about views. I care about focus. And I just think that Taiwan Live TV is not relevant anymore. And yeah, the thing is I mean, I've worked in radio. You guys know this. You know, national talk show host background. I worked in records, but I've never really done movies. I've worked behind the scenes on a movie. I don't have a face, you know, for TV and for movies. I'm a radio kind of guy, and I've always been doing, well, yeah, it's still very active. It's still active. I could just start streaming, you know, late night to that account. It's just that people would have to find it, because while excuse me, while Prism does multi-stream, it cannot multi-stream to multiple channels on the same platform. That's the only problem. But yeah, I could do that, and I could do Taiwan Live TV broadcasts only when it's very relevant. That would be like if I'm going to go, well, for example, Dave, you know that temple that you and I went to, that fantastic temple with that huge, you know, matsu that you could go up inside in the stairs. Remember, they had it locked off and stuff. In the back behind there, that white porcelain and gold area that we just were not able to show, you know what I'm saying? So I would like to go back and re-video that, those kinds of things. So yeah, okay, well, thanks, but I appreciate it. I just recognize that a lot of people, and you guys have a good track record of not taking me the wrong way. But I kind of don't look like the kind of person that's popular right now in the United States. I kind of look like I support, maybe by my looks, maybe by my color, maybe by my age, maybe by, you know, who knows. I might support a particular political platform, and that makes me unpopular. I mean, it's getting worse. It's people are just more judgmental now than, this is like going back to high school. So, but I will say this, there's one, yes, that's kind of what I'm thinking, yeah. And just, the other thing is, and you know, John Ho and I had this discussion actually in person about how, he said he and his wife were planning on having children, and I said, well, that's going to put a big dent in your Periscope. And he's like, well, no, it won't. Nuh-uh. What is it? Yeah, it ain't about COVID. He's not traveling because he's got two kids, man. And it's like, does he have 3? I'm trying to think. I should know this. But the point is, my daughter is growing up, and she needs more of my time. And I used to plan going on a different, yeah, that's what I thought. I used to plan on going out and doing day trips and so forth, and I got out of that habit partially because like on the weekends and things, my time is totally taken up by Phoenix, and also now that she's out of school, it's totally taken up by her. and she's been, you know, learning from home too. So I haven't been really going anywhere, and we've got the level 3. So, but I would like to get back into doing more field work. I haven't been to the Yongan fish market in like 4 years, and that place is just fantastic. And if you go there at the right time, you can catch them on one of their famous tuna auctions. That's really something to see. And that kind of live broadcast I would like to bring back to the channel and take my personal stuff out of it. Now, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't have a way that you can like transfer all your videos from one account to another. So whatever's on this channel is going to stay on the channel. We can, you know, change the focus of it. So I'm still, you know, xiang, as we say in Chinese, I'm still thinking about it, considering it, and trying to, you know, focus. Now the other thing is I am absolutely doing more music, because back when I started Taiwan Live TV, I didn't have any recording equipment, right? So yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, well, I was showing my shirt earlier, you know, with these Thai symbols, and I let the camera slip down because my I don't mind showing my gut now, you know. It's like, yeah, so it's going good, man. Nothing nothing beats like taking 2 weeks and not eating. Fist bump, Ken. It's good to see you today, and I hope John comes and visits you in San Antonio. I want to see you guys, you know, Ken and John at the Cracked Mug. And you know, one of these days, Ken, I'm going to be there. You and I are going to have a bootsy barbecue, man, and we're going to scope that together. All right. So, getting back to the studio thing, though, right? I started, you know, towards the middle, towards the end of 2018, acquiring recording equipment. You guys saw me do some live stuff on Periscope. I had a lot of live gear, you know, sound reinforcement systems, amps, all that stuff. So, me too. So now I've got a studio, and I have a studio channel. It's the same as it is on Instagram. On Instagram, it's well, let me see. This is it on. Oh, I gotta move it. This is it on Instagram. And let me just put it over here. It's Phoenix Media Forge on Instagram, right? And there's the Phoenix, you know, space media space Forge YouTube channel. I got like 9 subscribers. Big deal, because I'm not really doing much on it. I think I have 3 videos on it. I'm going to be doing some tutorial videos on some software, but I want to start doing more music content on that station, on that channel. Sorry, I'm still in radio. And let me tell you what I want to do. Some of the most useful channels on YouTube are guys who are a little bit older, and then guys like me who are a lot older, but I'm even older than Rick Beato. But these guys that have had tons of experience in the studio, talking about how they craft mixes or how they get sounds, how they work things. I really would like to devote some more time to doing that kind of content. And let me say this. You guys, my Taiwan Live TV followers, have always responded very positively to any of that music content I've done in the past. And some of you have actually requested more of it. I just felt that this was not the right channel. So, so I'm not begging for subs, but I'm just saying if you subscribe to Phoenix Media Forge, that's my Instagram. But Phoenix Media Forge, 3 words. You can find that channel on YouTube, and then you'll be, you know, prepared to see whatever, you know, new content that I want to do. But one of the things that I want to do is I want to show some of the recording techniques that I use, and because the funny thing is, the recording techniques and and standards that I employ are from 30 years ago, normal. But today they're strange. That's how it is. But it's really old school. And there's a YouTube channel called The House of Kush with Gregory Scott, and he's not as old as me, but he's not 25 either, and he's an old school guy, and he sits and has these interesting chats about the conceptual side of things a lot. And I sent him a message, and it was funny because a lot of what's going on with modern music production, they use terms, they use techniques that we never used 30 years ago on analog tape. Nobody used a plug-in. Nobody used this complex parallel spectral compression and these dynamic EQs, because these things didn't exist, or they were astronomically expensive. We had to get creative and use our ears. These days, the kids just grab a mouse and they drag a plug-in on, and oh, it's magic. I saw a YouTube video the other day that was like, COVID lockdown session, and the guy had so much auto-tune on his voice that I thought it was a vocoder. A vocoder is an instrument that is modulated by the voice, but it's a keyboard. If you know that song Mr. Blue Sky by ELO that came out 30 years ago, and they go Mr. Blue Sky, that's a vocoder. This guy's vocals supposed to be a live session. This guy's like so perfect pitch that he just crushed the life out of it. And so a lot of the techniques that I hear being touted now, because I sent a message to Gregory about this. We never talked about things like gluey compression. See, they'll tell you, okay, put an SSL type bus compressor on your master bus, set it at 4:1 ratio, and set the threshold just so it's barely tickling the needle, and it'll glue everything together in the mix. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Glue everything together in the mix. Don't you know how to mix? I mean, don't you know how to make it sound like a record? What are you talking about? I mean, I used a bus compressor to control the audio on the bus. I didn't use it to glue it. I mean, so anyway, I want to have these kind of discussions, but I want to show people what they mean by camera on the console, and screenshot of the DAW and the whole thing. So unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I got a big computer upgrade to do. I'm going for an i9 machine with a lot of RAM, and so being able to run like the Dante Audio Network and streaming software and all this stuff at the same time, be able to do this. So Taiwan Live TV is not going to go away, and the funny thing is I don't know. I kvetch over this. I stress over this. Sometimes you want to divide things out into different realms or different topics. But the problem is that you can divide your audience. And so at one given period of time, you've only got a small group following or watching or whatever, instead of putting it all together. But on the other hand, one of the worst things that you can do is be ambiguous as to your content. And so like with a product, especially if you try to sell something that is the jack of all trades, it will be literally the master of none. You guys do not remember the Flock, F-L-O-C-K. You don't remember the Flock browser, do you? You don't, do you? Because it's gone. I tried to tell them, and they wouldn't listen to me. The Flock browser came out, and they were absolutely a blogger's dream. You could go anywhere. It was amazing. You could go on any website and just like marquee select it and drag it to a sidebar. Boom. And you go to your WordPress blog and you log in, and the Flock browser supported the WordPress editor, and you could take those blocks and just pop them in. And so I'm not the kind of blogger that scrapes other people's stuff, but my blog that I ran for like 15 years or something, or 14 years, is a photo blog. And I would take my own photos from Flickr and do that. And it just made my life so easy. And then they started adding feeds. Now this is a browser. So all of a sudden I upgraded, and the new version had RSS feed support. I'm like, what is this? So back when blogs were the thing, you know, before live streaming, and right now if you have a blog and you're surviving, you're doing well, because I gave up my blog for live streaming. It's a whole lot easier to say what I want to say than it is to type it. They were trying to make and you've seen this so many times, and it always fails. We want the Flock browser to be the one-stop solution for everything. I don't remember the extent of it. If I'm not mistaken, they were starting to add email support, where you would just open the Flock browser, stay in the Flock browser all day and not do anything else. And I wrote to them and I said, you can't do this, because you've got the best platform in the world for bloggers. And I started using it after the updates, and the thing is bogging down like it's, you know, it's, I can't even use it. And I kept telling them that that's not, they don't listen to me. Why should they listen to me? But the point is they're gone. And one day that was it. And it wasn't very much long after that. They had added so many functions. And so you know, RSS feeds are nice, and all my websites have RSS feeds. All my sites, if you just do /feed, you'll get an RSS feed. And RSS feeds are very useful. There's a lot of RSS feed aggregators and readers. And if you've got a tablet, you know, or even on your PC, and you have like all the new posts from all your favorite blogs and websites, all these websites here, you know, you can get, even Taiwan Live TV, even Phoenix Media Forge, all of them, just go /feed and you can get. So yeah, I mean, I started my blog in 2005, and I've won best Taiwan blog, I've won best foreign blog, I won so many awards on my blog that I finally stated publicly on my blog that I would not participate in any more competitions, and I would not accept any more awards, because it was, you know, I wanted to give other people a chance. And I didn't think my blog was that great, but it was a photographic blog. It was a photo blog, so to tell a story, I'd have a picture and a line and a picture and a line and a picture and a line. And you guys don't even probably know about my blog. I'll tell you how to find it. I'm from New Hampshire, and because I did a lot of field work, they used to call me Bushman. So it's the New Hampshire Bushman is the name of my blog. It's kind of funny, but the URL is the NH, which is, you know, for New Hampshire, the NH Bushman.com. There's no SSL certificate because nobody posts it. Nobody leaves any comments or anything. I don't post anymore. This is even before, you know, SSL certificates and Google Chrome, you know, telling everybody it's an unsafe site and all this crap, which it's not. This is just more making money. But yeah, feel free to browse it. And I think my last post was 28 Well, I think I put one post in there from Thailand, and I promised everybody, the last 5 posts, I promised everybody I'm going to post more, and I don't get around to it. I'm too busy. But the Flock browser became, you know, and it never works. That's what Twitter tried to do, right? With live streaming and news feeds and all that, and it's a mess. Nobody likes it. It's terrible. And so I just think I'm going to take, these kind of chats, what I call, late night with MJ Klein, because I'm a radio guy, right? I should actually just turn off the camera. See, this would be how this would. Yes, that's it. It's exactly this. See, I don't know if I can I turn off the camera? Let me see. So, yes, I can. So this would be it. It would be late night with MJ Klein. So tonight's topic, we're going to talk about blogs, blogging tools. Are they still relevant today, or has it been supplanted or replaced by live streaming? See, it's better, isn't it, with radio? So, that's a very good question. Wenwen's address has moved by 2 digits. It was, let's see, it was, I got to think of it in Chinese. It was 357. Now it's 355. And I changed it in Google Maps. So if you find her in Google Maps, but that reminds me, I need to do, thank you for reminding me, I need to do another one of those PDF files, where you guys can click on it and you can print it out for labels. So what I will do is, on live streaming technology, because that is pretty much where I'm posting nowadays, and I never opened up Taiwan Live TV for articles, really. I just had a profile page, and that was about it. I'll post a link. I'll put it on one of my servers somewhere, and then you guys can just download it and print it. I'll do that this week, and I'll put it on livestreaming.technology, and you can find it there. The problem with any forum that you start out with is that there's no content, and it's hard. And so I was on a forum the other day, an interesting tech forum, and they had like, yeah, thank you. I used Affinity Designer to do that, and I just like the different colors and stuff. And I was on this tech blog, and I was astonished at the number of members in the hundreds of thousands, and the posts are in the millions, but they've been there like 10 years. And so people go to livestreaming.technology, and there are not many new posts, because there's not so many users, and it takes time. It's an uphill battle. But here's the thing. Hey Michael, how you doing? All right. Fist bump to you. Yeah, man, doing good. Losing weight, on fast and all that. How you making out? And so, just trying to get, people to join, but it's a struggle. But I've been looking at, of course, the metrics. I have access to, these are my sites, and I have access to all the statistics, site statistics, and analytics. And I got to tell you, the one that's doing the most is the pandemic community. But the pandemic community only has 4 members, because the site's like 3 weeks old. But it has 5 times the traffic of live streaming technology. So people are finding it, but what they're doing is they're looking at it, and they say, oh, there's only like 10 or 15 or 20 posts, so they don't spend much time there, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, you always do. You always do when you drop weight. And so today's the 18th day of my fast. I started on the 21st, and I didn't have a single piece of solid food until the 14th day. And for some reason, I hadn't really had much cravings. Had been drinking things and you know, liquids, and I also drink some like chicken powder or you know, soup stock or something like that, right? And then I just got really hungry, and I try not to ignore it. If it gets to a certain point, my body's telling me, it's bumping me. Okay, you got to. So I ate a meal on that night, Sunday night. And Monday, oh, let me show you this. Let me show you this, guys. You're gonna love this. Monday, I went to one of our factories, and the boss had these guys right here, and I'm going to show you these right now. These are lychees, and he gave us a bag of lychees, and I took that picture kind of casually. And hey Fides, how you doing, man? Fist bump. And those were the best tasting lychees I've ever had, and I ate like half the bag. But it's okay, because you know, I had been feeling like I wanted some more fruit. Well, when I'm on a fast, my diet is just no food, you know, so for some reason there you go. And so that was kind of creepy. Sorry, that got a little zoom by mistake. And so that was Monday. And then after Monday, I didn't have anything until tonight, and I felt like I wanted something else just for some fruit, so I had one apple tonight. But I'm at 115. So, well, not liquid food necessarily, but just, you know, like coffee, tea. I drink a lot of soda water, and I drink alcohol, having whiskey and rum, and you know, nothing with sugar in it at all. And then, but I don't like take regular food, you know, foods and puree them and turn them into liquids. No, that wouldn't be a fast. That's just, you're just changing the form of it, you know. So what I had done about in late 2017, I was 125, no added sugars, and no added carbohydrates. I was 125 kilograms, and I fasted down to 115, and it was amazing. I felt incredible. It's like, wow, all this weight off me. And I kept it off for years, because people always say, oh, fasting is no good because a week later you put the food back on. Yeah, well, that's because you don't change anything. So I changed how much I ate, and I changed what I ate, and I kept it off. And what I noticed was that one meal that I had after 14 days, this past Sunday, I laid out the amount of food, you know, that I thought that I wanted to eat, and it ended up being half that. So again, sometimes we just eat more than we should. That's all. I mean, I know people that haven't missed a meal in 30 years, and they eat 3 meals a day. That's 21 meals a week. We don't need that much food. You don't. You just don't. And so I would love it if I could get down. I used to eat 4 meals a week, and then I got ill, but it didn't have anything to do with that. It was other things. So, Dean, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you. Yeah, and those were our castings too, by the way. It's funny, it just so happened I went in there to talk to the boss about some of our parts, and the Indonesian guy was on the bandsaw cutting some of our customers' products. Yeah, really cool. But so anyway, I'm just drinking coffee and tea. Like I had an apple tonight, and tomorrow I'm just going to go back on coffee and tea. And I got a Zoom business meeting tomorrow afternoon. And I'm going to fix my bike tire, and my trike also blew a tire. So I'm going to fix that, and I'm going to take a ride. I'm going to attempt. The thing is, it needs a little bit of adjustment. I've ridden it for a while. The trike is also filthy dirty because of the dust here in Taiwan. I need to take it outside and hand scrub the whole thing. But I would love to take a ride to the coast, and because it's a recumbent trike, and you put your feet out front, so it's like sitting in this lounge chair, and so that's what that's a great way to exercise. It is a mindset. Yes, I know what you mean. You have to. I don't know what the mechanism is, but if it's not right, it won't work. Because I got depressed, and when I get depressed, I don't care about stuff. And I put a lot of weight back on. I went back to 122. I went back almost to 125. Well, on Sunday will be day 21 days, and I'm going to reassess. I'm going to check and see what, yeah. Well, there is a breeze blowing. It is Taiwan, and this is the windy area, and the ocean's right over there. But I'd say it's probably about 30, 29, 30, right in there. It's, it's a little bit slick, but it's okay. Yeah, I think one meal a day is good enough. When I was in the States, I ate one meal a day, but the food I ate in the States, I didn't understand. I shouldn't have been eating that stuff. So I was eating too many carbohydrates, too many complex carbohydrates, and not enough fat. And so now, it's like bacon and eggs or ham and eggs with cheese, things like that. Like I'll have hamburger patties and no bread. And my wife is, of course she's Taiwanese, and she cooks Taiwanese vegetables like out of this world. And so she will cook any kind of vegetables that I want. Thanks so much, Michael. You take care. See you, bro. Fist bump. Say hi to the boys. It's great. I have not Fides, but I'm not really one for diets, for diet fat, you know what I mean? I read Dr. Atkins' book in the late 90s, and the whole thing about insulin receptors and insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and things like chromium and vanadium for the insulin receptors. I understood all of that stuff because I read a book called The Chromium Program. We're actually moving the old WHDH studio over to Bullfinch in the Channel 7 building after Channel 7 bought them in Boston. And the old studio, the chief engineer, Dana Popolo, you guys heard me talk about him, he said, all this is getting trashed, you can take anything you want in this room. I said, okay. They had a really nice office chair, so I took it. But they also, because it's a talk radio station, so every author in the world, would go to the station in Boston and leave their book there. So I had thousands of books and stuff, and I just, whatever books I wanted, I took. And one of them was the Chromium Program. It was about this thick. The Chromium Program changed my life because, as I was telling Fides, about diets and food and stuff, I didn't know what I was really supposed to eat until like the very late 90s, and then I landed in Taiwan, to live in 2004. So it really wasn't that long of a time. And since then I've been back to the States 4 times, and since 2004. And every time I go back to the States, I have trouble finding stuff that I can eat. It's got a bunch of sugar in it, or it's got a bunch of flour in it. It's gluten, or it's like carbohydrates, and everything's pasta, and everything is 3 times as big as it needs to be. I remember I remember I ordered a small salad, uh, and it was, you know, this big. And I said, what, you know, I ordered the small. They said, that is a small. And I said, oh my goodness, they do have a large. How big is that thing? This, I mean, and so we ate it together. So. I don't know who that is, but you know what Michael Kelly, excuse me, was talking about earlier, excuse me. I just want to focus on that just for a second about getting in the mindset for fasting. And I know that, you know, in the past I fasted, and many of you who follow me had decided to just try it, you know, and several of you have talked to me, you know, privately on direct messages, and you said that it's, you know, you felt good and you lost weight, and it made you feel good physically, but also better mentally, like about yourself, about your appearance, you know. And I got to tell you, the other day I walked out of the house and I got my little shorts on, and my shorts, my gut used to go like this, right, tuck in, right, and then, you know, my shorts would stick in, you know, in the crack, I guess you call it, I don't know. And I would always put my shorts up on my belly and they would slide back down because belly's fat, right? So anyway, I walked out of the house and my shorts didn't move, and I'm like, yeah, because you see all these men walking around with a tight belt and a big overhang. Otherwise they got to have their belt up to here to hold it in, you know. And if that doesn't make you feel better about yourself, I don't know what will. But how do you get to the point where you're willing to not eat for 2 or 3 weeks to get there? How do you do that? Well, that's a really good question. So we're going to answer that in just a few minutes. But before we do that, we're going to have a message from George from JTS.
Hi, this is George from Taiwan, JTS. You're watching the Late Night with MJ Klein.
All right, man, that's fantastic. And I still have the JTS microphone, and I'm wrapping up the interview. And it's, you know, it's got to be comprehensive. It's got to be right. And so I'll be doing the editing. I'm not a very good video editor. I need. This is one of the mics that he sent me. This is an incredible karaoke mic. And this is a picture of the orange one that I have, and they also make a nice gray one. And that's a gray one with JTS studio headphones. It's fantastic. So anyway, how do you get into the mindset of setting yourself up mentally? I'm gonna not eat for a week. At the end of the week, I'm going to assess and see where I am. All right. The first thing that you need is information. You need to convince yourself that what you're doing is not going to hurt you, and that it's going to be okay, it's going to be good for you. And so there's a website about fasting. It's written by a doctor, and gosh, I forget the doctor's name. He's an Asian guy. I should remember his name. But it's called Intermittent Fasting for Beginners. Hey Rob, fist bump to you. Nice to have you with us. Thank you. Intermittent fasting for beginners. And he describes all kinds of fasts, like within a 24-hour period of time. You can have an 8-hour fast, you know, or a 16-hour fast, or a 20-hour fast, or whatever you want. And he goes and he points out that fasting is used for many different reasons. Because when you fast, you have better mental focus. It's really true. You become better focused mentally, and it can help with resting. It can help with immunological situations because you're not eating things that could possibly be allergenic. And the other thing is that it's a good way to reset diabetes, because the last time that I fasted for a long period of time, my resting blood glucose was 82. It's like, I mean, my doctor practically, you know, lit a Roman candle. So read about it, intermittent fasting for beginners, and he talks about how, you know, you can fast for any reason you want or no reason at all. You can start when you want, you can stop when you want. So the fact is that it's not a failure if you set a goal for, you know, for 7 days or whatever, and you don't make it. But here's the problem. If you've never done it before, you have no idea what it's going to do, because most people have not missed a meal in 30 years. So they, you know, I've heard people who miss breakfast. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm like, really? I guess you wouldn't. I guess you wouldn't make it in Ethiopia, you know. So, that's hard, because, you know, carbohydrates make you feel good. When I was depressed, right, one of the things I would do was I would go down to the 7-Eleven and get the biggest bag of Lay's potato chips that they made, and I eat the whole thing. I watched a movie. I ate one chip at a time, like this, like they were gourmet, for a 2-hour movie, and I felt great until the next day. So the first thing you need is information. The second thing that you need is support. And I don't mean, you know, you have to get your wife or your friends, or you have to get a community on board. What I mean is you need some kind of a lifeline in case you feel like you got to eat. Because the truth is, the human body stores carbohydrates for about 3 days. If you don't eat anything for 3 days, those carbohydrates are exhausted. One of the ways it's been explained is you've got a small ice box and a big ice box. And the small ice box is the daily stuff, and it's lasts for 3 days. So as long as you're eating within those 3-day period, or you're eating carbohydrates, and you don't have a state of ketosis, or as Dr. Atkins called it, the benign dietary ketosis, where you have ketones in your blood because your carbohydrate level is down, then you never burn stuff from the big ice box. But the problem is, it takes 3 days to get to that point. Once you get to that point, then appetite suppression kicks in. And that is incredible when you feel that. You wake up on like the morning of the 4th day and you go, gosh, I'm not hungry at all. And all of a sudden you get this mental clarity. But how do you get through those first couple of days? Because usually people tell me the first day I can do it, because I get up in the morning and they go, okay, I've got everything all set. I got my coffee, I got some tea, I got, you know, soda water, I've got some chicken broth, I got, you know, and that's the support I'm talking about. You've got something that's, you know, to support you getting through this. They'd say, oh, but the end of the 2nd day, you know, I bit my fingernail and I swallowed it. You know, it's like they're going crazy, right? And anyway, you got to do whatever you got to do to get to the 3rd day. But what you shouldn't do is eat anything really glycemic. Now, nuts like peanuts and cashews, they have, you know, it's arguably some carbohydrate content, but they're also viewed as being low on the glycemic scale. They're also nutritionally dense. So what I found was, I went to Costco, and you got to look at the labels. They make a mixed nut version that has very low sugar. I don't know why they put any in it. Gosh, it ticks me off. But it's like 1.5% sugar or something really ridiculously low. And I found that when I was walking around the house and doing what I was doing, and I felt I just had an overwhelming urge to eat something, I would just open up that jar, grab a handful, and just eat the handful for the next couple of minutes. You know, 2 or 3 nuts at a time, no problem. That's the support that you need. So the first thing you need is information. The second thing you need is support. The third thing that you need is the motivation to do it. I'm going to tell you how I got my motivation. I'm going to tell you on the other side of this break.
Hi, this is Stephen Osaka, live from Greenland, and you're watching Taiwan Live TV with MJ Klein.
Hi everybody, you're watching Late Night with MJ Klein on Taiwan Live TV.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Well, I've had a lot of experience writing, official documentation, for like procedures and things. You're not going to believe what I do to get motivation. See, it's not about the intellectual person, it's about the emotional person. The only way that you can reach somebody is to reach their heart. That's the only thing. It's the seat of motivation. It's been called the seat of motivation. Reach the heart. That's why a lot of movements prey on people's emotions, so. Well, I will say this, Dean. If you're watching your diet and you're getting enough exercise and you're taking appropriate supplements, a Big Mac is not going to kill you. Just don't make it a habit. And, people think that they can't do it, and they think that it's too hard. And hey, Coco, how you doing? Fist bump to you. Nice to have you here. And Coco, you complete the group tonight because everybody's been here. I mean, people have come out of the woodwork tonight. It's fantastic. It's like the best live stream I've had in 5 years or something. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm talking about fasting, and you're coming in at the very last part of this. But you have to have. It's not enough to have the intellectual knowledge of fasting and why it's good for you and why you should do it and some of the benefits that you can gain. You have to really want to do it. Take care, Betty. Thank you. Fist bump to you. You'll have to come back later and hear how you get the motivation. But it's real simple. What you do is I say the nightly shower because in Asia, okay, good. We take our showers and our baths at night. Generally speaking, people in Asia do not shower in the morning because we showered at night, and it keeps the bed clean. This is really an interesting concept, and one that struck me as like something that I felt stupid for not practicing or knowing. I mean, of course, in the States, if I came home from a hard day at work, I would take a shower because I felt dirty. But how many people just, as we say, sleep dirty? Just they've been at the office and they feel like they haven't gotten that dirty, and they go to bed dirty. They just change into their pajamas or just take their clothes off and they go to bed without a shower. They would never do that in Taiwan or anywhere else in Asia. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to build muscles, absolutely. And so, fortunately, for my age, I've been able to maintain a pretty good amount of muscle mass without going crazy. But I notice my abs are popping back out again. That's good. The motivation, though, your nightly shower, or if it's your daily shower, I recommend a nightly shower. If you guys have not gotten in this habit, here's what I recommend that you do. Change the sheets on your bed right away. Just change them. Have your nice clean sleeping clothes. Take a shower before bed and go to bed, and everything is completely clean. Your clothes are clean, the bed's clean, and then the next morning you don't have to take a shower because you didn't sweat in the bed, did you? I mean, you ran the air conditioning or you ran the fan. Of course, if you did sweat, if you live in a tropical country and you're on the floor on a mat, then you do take a shower in the morning. And in Asia, sometimes we shower 2 or 3 times a day. It's just, you know, it's traditional. But you will find that once you transition into the night shower and get off the day showers, it's amazing. Because a lot of people say, oh, I'll use a shower to wake up. Not really. That's what you drink coffee for. And you'll find that it saves you some time, and you'll actually be able to get up maybe 10 minutes later. That's a little bonus. Anyway, get out of your shower, whether it's the day or the night. Dry off and stand in front of the mirror. Hangnails would bother me. Stand in front of the mirror. Look at yourself. Turn to the left. Turn to the right. Think about what you might look like if you lost some weight. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot, because part of what I'm talking about, the information and the motivation, the whole thing, is to make a realistic goal. For somebody like me who's been fasting for several years, for me to say, oh, if I want to lose 20 kilograms, that's not a goal that you would want to set if you've never done it before, okay? Because you're not going to make it. And the problem is you're going to suffer a failure, and you're going to feel bad from the failure. So you have to develop a record of success, and you do that by doing it incrementally. So start out, because I know you guys in the States use pounds. Start to say, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to fast until I lose 5 pounds. And look at your body. And think about how you don't like how it looks. And you want to change it. And then you can keep that mental picture. I'm really hungry. Oh man, I want to eat that. And then that picture pops back in your mind, and you go, no, I made a commitment to see myself through for 5 pounds. I can do it, and you can, because a lot of times it's water weight. And so some people just use it like a compression belt, and even like a weightlifting belt, and that has a tendency to compress and get rid of some of the water weight too. I've heard of some diets where they actually wrap you in like a big, it's kind of like a mummy, it's like a compression thing. So no, Coco's meals are the reward for coming off the fast. Right. And so, but in this whole thing, you can't be too rigid, right? Because rigidity is bad. That's like zero tolerance. So we've had discussions about how zero tolerance really is like, you know, zero intelligence, because it doesn't take extenuating circumstances, you know, into consideration. And I've been on a fast before, and I caught a cold, and I stopped the fast immediately because I felt bad, and I didn't want to do that. So yes. Really? Show food that you gave up? Wow. Yeah, and so Coco, you understand this. I know you do. But how many times have you heard people say, especially if you casually mention them, be in a social situation like, oh, no thanks, I'm not eating anything, I'm fasting, and they might ask you, are you fasting, you know, for religious reasons, or, you know, no, I'm just fasting to lose some weight. And you hear the same thing. I tried that, it never works. Oh, you fast and you lose 5 pounds, you put it back on. Or my favorite, well, if you fast and you lose 5 pounds, you put on 10 pounds. That's the one that I like. Yeah, because you didn't do anything any different. All you did was just interrupt what you did. You just went like this, okay, and then you went like this, and you went right back. That's not the point of what we're trying to do. The point is we're trying to improve, right? Exactly. They don't know. So, I mean, it's just like, all they did was get off the highway take a pee, and get back on. Of course you did. And the reason that they say you put on 10 pounds again is because your body goes into panic mode. The human body's not dumb. It knows when it's not getting food, and it reacts to starvation. And it's funny because you'll see people, photographs from people, nations that are absolutely decimated, and their tummies are huge. They're bloated. That's just a result of extreme hunger, and it looks like they're fat. It's weird. The body does strange things, but it can hoard carbs, and anyway, so it's easier to put weight back on after a fast, but not if you are careful, and not if you, yes, exactly, carb, sugar, and she says coffee and dairy, and coffee is actually increases blood sugar, they say. So yeah, that's not bad. And dairy, yeah. But see, I like coffee with milk. But yeah, Matthew, take care. Good to catch you too, bro. Thank you so much. Wow, we've been on for an hour and 12 minutes. So, oh, you got a Scorpion trike? Oh, I like those. I have a TW Benz, made in Taiwan, made and designed in Taiwan. Look those up. It's an old company. It's been bought by a new guy. He's a really good guy. I met him at I think it was the 2017 Taipei bike show. Anyway, this always happens to me. I'm just a normal person. You guys, I mean, I know you think a lot of me, but I'm just as imperfect and just as dumb as the next person, and I want you to trust me. Every single day I pray and I ask forgiveness for the dumb things that I do. I do things wrong and mess things up, and I apologize to my wife and my kid. But it's gonna happen again. I'm losing all this weight, and I'm gonna be down. I'm like 215 now. And tomorrow morning I'll be 214. I'm gonna try to get down as close to 110 as I can. See where I am. I'm gonna be 110. I'm gonna be walking around, and as soon as you eat a little bit, you go back up a little bit. It happens that way. So whenever you set a goal, you have to go a little bit below it, because then you start eating again, then you come right back up to it. You have to change what you're doing. Like Coco said, you get no sugar, no carbs and stuff. But what happens is, you start saying, oh, well, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I can handle that. So I'm out with my wife, and Phoenix and my wife are getting blueberry cheesecake. And I'm like, crap, man, I'm 110 kilograms. Give me one of those. And you forget about it. Then the next day you're at Burger King. Because, my wife doesn't need a diet. My wife can eat almost anything she wants. It's amazing. And Phoenix is, is a kid. So they're going to Burger King. Papa, can we do Burger King today? Yeah, sure, go ahead. And you go in, and you go, well, I'm not really intending on eating here. But, yeah, I'm 110 kg. I'm doing okay. Let me have one of those fish sandwiches. And there it goes. And then the next day, it's, let me get a couple of those cookies from Subway. And that's what happened to me. And within a year, I completely crashed everything. I started examining what I was eating, and I was like, what is wrong with me? It's like I forgot everything. And I kept talking to my wife, I got to do a reset. I got to do a reset. I got to do a reset. And I didn't do it for 6 months. I didn't do it for 6 months. I didn't feel like doing it. So 25 is a lot. That's a lot, man. Wow. Yeah. And carbs make you feel good, right? Because I don't know if you heard this. It was a little bit before you came in, but when I was depressed, and I told you guys I've been depressed, right? And I don't know why. It just happens. I got nothing to be depressed about. But that doesn't matter. I went down to 7-Eleven. I got the biggest bag of potato chips they had, and ate them one at a time. That's the willpower that I had. I didn't grab a handful and do the you're right. I just one at a time, like Pringles, out of the bag watching a movie over 2 hours. And it was great, and they taste incredible. But between you and me, I'm working on an idea. I intend to develop a new food product. I'm not going to tell you any of the ingredients, but I'm going to develop a new flavorful snack food that is zero glycemic, no sugar, and actually has anti-diabetes or anti-glycemic properties. And I'm very certain I know how to do it. I just need to do the testing. But yeah, well, that's good, because it's not good for you, really. But fast food in Taiwan is different. Now, you see me go down there to Mr. Wu's, right? And there's no sugar in that stuff. Like I ate those bacon rolls, you know, with the green beans. The green beans have a little bit of carbs, and you see me get like the salt pork and stuff. I can go back to eating those foods. But one of the foods that I like a lot is I like Wenwen's version of the Thai dish, the kapao, over rice. Guys, rice is amazing. Okay, you know what? I can forget about bread. I can. But curry over rice, any kind of gravy, or what we say lu ro, you know, the juice of the simmered pork meat with soy sauce and ginger, some spices, and ladled over a bowl of soup. Oh my goodness. They're made with yams, but yam is sweet potato. Are you sure there's zero? I will look that up. I'll look that up. But I will tell you one thing that I used to eat, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, Fides, because I had forgotten about this, and I'm sure Coco knows this. Spaghetti squash that doesn't grow here in Taiwan. Spaghetti squash. Have you guys ever had that? I visited my father in 1999, and I brought my wok and my Chinese cleaver with me because I had every intention. I visited him for 4 months, and I knew it. And I had every intention of him. Well, calories don't really matter in the long run. It's about storage. It's about the 2 ice boxes, and of course, I mean, you can overdose on anything. But all right, I'm gonna look that up because it's on the thing. It's on the chat, so I can go back and look that up. The shirataki, okay, I've heard of that. No, it's not. It's not fast food. It's made, you know, made on site. So I told my dad. I said, told my dad and his wife, I'm gonna cook tonight. He said, okay. So I got some store-bought spaghetti sauce that I use as a base, you know, and I added ingredients to it and kicked it up, and it actually came out quite good, I think. I added some Asian ingredients to it too. And then I bought a nice big spaghetti squash, and I cut it in half and, you know, greased it and put it in the oven, and I'm baking it. And my father said, how's dinner coming? I said, doing good. What are you having tonight? I said, we're having spaghetti. And he's looking around, he's like, where's the pasta? Don't worry. Because, you know, dinner was gonna, it's like 10 minutes before dinner. He wants to know what's going, where's the boiling water? Where's the pasta? So, yeah, absolutely. Those are nice, aren't they? And you don't need sugar, and you don't need anything. If you want to put actually some butter for butternut squash, put some butter on that. And yes, that's basically what it is, Fides. And my favorite spice for everything is cinnamon. I put cinnamon on everything. When I was a kid, my mom would make a cinnamon jar, but she'd put half sugar in it. So it's sugar and cinnamon. But like, I put cinnamon on pizza or whatever. So what Coco was saying about squash, I put cinnamon on that. It's incredible. So I'm like, okay, dinner's served. And my dad's like, where's the pasta? I said, come here, I'll show you. and I had the squash up on the counter, you know, and see, Coco was same page. I took a fork and I stabbed the squash and I started pulling it, and it comes out in strings, and it looks exactly like spaghetti. And I piled, you know, a pile of spaghetti squash pasta on my father's plate, and I ladled my sauce on it, and he flipped out. He'd never seen it before, never used it before, and it was amazing. So I take enough supplements for mental clarity. So when I was in at the Sears Institute for Anti-Aging, I did take a cognitive test, and I will tell you that I know at least one leader of the free world that would not pass that test. But I only have 5 hours of sleep. But thanks, Mike, I appreciate it. I have been missing sleep. I've been having trouble sleeping. I was up last night until 4 o'clock in the morning, and I resist taking these sleeping pills, but I took them anyway. I took one, and I woke up 3 hours later. That's the problem with me. I have to remind the doctors here, I'm twice your weight. The average person here is like 60 to 70 kilograms, okay? And so I got, you know, what do they call it, the throat scope. Gosh, why can't I think about it? When they you know, look down the esophageal scope, you know, they look down the stomach, and they don't put you out. It's not a general, it's a local kind of anesthetic, but it's to put you in a twilight, you know, so you're awake, but you're relaxed and you won't gag and choke on it. So they gave me a dose of it, and he started to do the procedure, and I went, wait, I can't even tell any difference. And then I took a second pill, and they waited, and I couldn't tell any difference anyway. He says, well, that's all we're going to give you is double. I just gave you double what I give a Taiwanese person, and it was like I didn't even have any. So chickpea flour. I've never heard of that, but that must be outrageous. Now, before I went on my fast, my family and I had been eating a lot of Indian food. My wife likes Indian food, but for some reason we didn't really go to many Indian food restaurants, but I think it's probably because of Phoenix. There's a like a fallacy or something that children don't like spices, right? Phoenix loves garlic. When Phoenix was a baby, I gave her slices of lime, and she put them in her mouth and like bit them and ate them, and she loved lime. She loves garlic. That hot oil that I made, she tasted it. The first thing she said was, it's good, Papa, but it's really spicy. But the thing is, she said it was good first, right? Well, we don't have a Japanese section. So some stores have a foreign food section, but I'll look for that. I will look for that, okay? And I will see. So I think how to say, okay, I would say, I know how to say that. It would be like, yam, we would say di gua. So it's kind of like di gua mian. So it would be like noodles from the, you know, di gua de mian. So that's how I would say it. So yeah. No, I didn't start living here. I didn't start living here until 2004. So it was a long time after that. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool that you were here back then. So things are completely different, and they're completely different when I moved here. I've been here 17 years. Completely different, but so chickpea flour. Gosh, Coco, that's it. Because I love chickpeas, and that's where I was going when I said that we were eating Indian food, right? And of course, Indian food has a lot of called garbanzo beans, alternatively, or chickpeas. I love chickpeas. And chickpeas is a heart food according to the macrobiotic diet and traditional medicine. It's good for the cardiac system. So that's good. That's really good. But one of the things that I like is, because I talked about giving up bread and stuff, but to my mind, this doesn't qualify as bread. Not the same thing. I'm talking about like baked bread. Is like the roti or the naan in Indian or Sri Lankan dishes? Because you know my pal Athula, right? You guys remember Athula? He's a Sri Lankan gentleman. He has a restaurant down the street, and I did some streams with him, and I played guitar at his place. You guys remember him? They call him the curry guru, and oh my word, he made some curry for me and Michael Turton. And Michael Turton's been to India like at least 3 times, and I gotta tell you, yeah, I know it does. It does, doesn't it? Well, that's I mean, that's prison for you, Periscope almost said. Michael Turton, I mean, took one taste of this, and he's looking at the kitchen like, who's this guy, man? It's like just some regular guy, you know, it's an everyday guy, but he can cook like nobody's business. And he makes roti. And this is how you go from fasting back to needing to fast. Because when this is all over and level 3's restrictions are gone and Athula's restaurant is back open, MJ's going to be there, and I'm going to order a double order of the beef curry, and it's dark. I mean, it's like chocolate brown almost. It's really dark. And I'm going to order a stack of roti. I'm just going to roll that roti in there, and that's, you know, and that's it. I'm going to do that once in a while. That's the problem. So it also means I might not be doing so many of those potato chip reviews, which I enjoy doing because they always surprise me how they can change the flavor, you know, but the aroma is the same. Because you guys heard me do this a million times. Open the bag and go, yep, smells like the same old thing. It's, you know, it's salty. I smell like a monosodium glutamate, and I smell deep fried oil, and that's about it. And then I take the chip and I take a bite out of it, and it's like, it's completely different. It's always fascinated me, because I think that if you did a blindfold test, you could take like those, you know, you could take like those steak ones or the lobster ones or the, you know, the sushi, all those chips. You could have somebody just smell the aroma of them blindfolded, and I don't think they would be able to tell the difference unless they were just intimately familiar with them. But the flavors are a different thing. I like that. So, oh, show it to me next week, okay? After the fast, I'm gonna go to Sunday, see where I am on Sunday. But Coco, you have like a standing assignment. It's, you know, you have this assignment. It's a standing order for you to post these things, right? So it is. Unfortunately, some of the evil powers that rule the world has seen the pandemic as a reason to reset everything. Man, the middle word, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, white dragon noodles? Is that what that is? Yeah, it's really, it's funny thing is the Chinese font is the same size, but it's really hard to read. Yeah, that's what it says. It says Bai Long Mian. Okay, Bai Long Mian. White dragon noodles. Okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you. My goodness, and jerk. Oh, you do jerk chicken. Oh. I had jerk in Cayman. There was a Cuban couple. They were cute. off the side of the road in like a Daihatsu Rocky truck, you know. And he had his grill out there, and they had their own sauce. They had their own sauce for it, and you could smell the smoke in it. But I haven't had jerk chicken in ages. And oxtails. When I was 19 years old, I had a chief cook from Taiwan, a restaurant chief cook, lived with me. The funny thing is, he had the same name as Bruce Lee, but his feminine name was Chen, because Bruce Lee's name was Li Xiaolong, and it's actually I gotta get the tone right, Xiaolong, because it's 2 and 1. And so, like, if you look at the middle on this word, you look at the middle one, that's dragon, right? So Xiaolong would be small dragon, right? And I don't know if I can say it. Maybe I can type that. Let me see if my Chinese works. If I go like this, okay. I'm sorry. Anyway, you know what? Forget it. It's just gonna be too much trouble. Never mind. And so, it's one hot, really? Oh, so okay. So I want to hear the story about how you made it hot. Anyway, what I'm getting to is this guy whose name was Xiaolong, right? He was a chief cook, and he made oxtails. And the funny thing is, it was in this pot, and I don't know how he did it, but the soup was clear. It had a slight color to it, but it was crystal clear. It was like kind of like a yellowish, you know. And I never in my life saw anybody cook oxtails in the soup where it was completely clear like that. Like it looked like, you know, acrylic or something. And I just, to this day, I remember that. But the other thing I remember is that they were just fall off the bone tender, and it was just, oh. And I think, if I recall, I think he used cloves. It was just, it was incredible. It was nuts. It was just so good. So Coco, when we go back to the States, that's okay. Well, if you check yam, right? If you type yam or sweet potato noodles, it's going to say what I said, I think. Yam might be different, but I personally have never run across a differentiation like in yam. In English, in English we differentiate yam from sweet potato. Now, linguistically, but I'm not so sure that I would recognize them, you know, if I saw myself. But yeah, that's you know what? I think you're absolutely right, because now that I think about that, after I said that, I think I remember the star anise flavor in there too. So yeah, and that's very common. And you know, the 5 spice, we say that in Chinese too, right? And so that's very common in Chinese style cooking. So, but here in Taiwan, with yam, we just say, you know, di hua, and it's sweet potato. It's the same thing. So yeah, just check that out. As long as you're you know, in another browser tab, you can check that out too. That'd be cool. But I'm still kind of reeling from the thought of the chickpea flour. I gotta find that. We have a baking store. It really, really is. That is a great spice for tails. It's a great spice for beef anyway, and people don't really know that. And it can make a really tough kind of, you know, if you're trying to stretch your money, right? What you can do is buy some of these tougher cuts, you know, like I don't have any experience with those, but I want to try them. You get like the calf muscle, you know, and it can be a little tough. That's why I cook in the Dutch oven, because the Dutch oven can soften anything. but oh man, I bet it is. Whew. But if you use that allspice, right, and like, you know, a calf or some kind of roast that was a little bit tough, and you put it in a pressure cooker, wow. Or Dutch oven if you like. I like the Dutch oven. I like the 3, 4, sometimes 5-hour cooking times. Which reminds me, I have been so itching to go camping. And I want to go to Andreas's, but it's 5 hours away. And my wife doesn't want to go, and Phoenix doesn't want to go. And I asked Phoenix, how would you feel if Papa went to Andreas's place for a couple days? And she just went like this, right? But my friend Tony, you know, Tony who owns the factory, my friend Tony and some other friends that I know have land. And I can go camping on the land, and it's only like, you know, 30 minutes from here. So I'm thinking seriously about taking a 2-day camping trip and just bringing my Dutch ovens. And of course we can get, you know, internet from almost anywhere. Those places are like, so we could do a couple of campfire live streams. I think that'd be really cool. If I bring the Dutch oven, I'm gonna cook something like that, like a beef roast, because I haven't had one in such a long time. And if I'm cooking it for myself, I can put anything that I want in there, and I would definitely put some hot peppers. Definitely. And I'd bring my hot oil with me too. Another way I like to cook is bush style, where they do this all over the African continent. You just cut a strip of meat and you put it on a stick, and it hangs off the stick, okay? And you just stick the stick in the ground, and the meat's hanging off next to the fire. So that's another, you know, that's another thing I like to do, bushcraft kind of cooking. So I'm itching so bad, but I've been telling Phoenix for a long time that I was going to take her camping on the roof. So I got this big flat roof, and I have a nice little mosquito net that I bought in Thailand, and it's one of those ones that's you know, it's the fiberglass hoops that you bend together, and so when you unzip it from the pack, you just throw it, and it goes, and it goes up by itself, right? And then when you're done, you twist it up and put it back. So I want to bring her up to the top floor for a camping trip with Papa, and she can sleep in that thing, and that'd be fantastic. Really? I didn't know that. Wow. Because when I went to Boston, I ended up living in the North End. And it's an Italian community, and many of the people there don't speak English. And the Bova Bakery, which is still there, and I wrote about it on my blog. I'll tell you what, you guys found out about my blog tonight. Look up it's my 2010 trip to USA. It'll say the 2010 USA trip. But look up the Bova, B-O-V-A, Bova Bakery. I took my wife there because they have, you know, of course they got cannolis, and they got I mean, talk about complex carbohydrates. And these people walk around like, you know, huge, okay? But they have lobster tails. Now I don't mean, you know, actual lobsters. Coco, do you know what I'm talking about? The lobster tail, it's a filled shell. It's filled with that magic cream, and it looks exactly like a lobster tail. And we went to the bakery, and this is before Phoenix. This is 2010. It's 2 years before my daughter was born. And I took her to the Bova Bakery, and I talked to the lady behind the counter, and I said, I'm sure you don't know me, but I used to live down the street, and I was friends with and I mentioned his name, and Anthony Bova, and I knew him back in, you know, like 1981. And she's like, well, there are 3 Anthony Bovas in the Bova family. I'm like, okay. She says, and I think the one that you're talking about is a successful dentist in Boston. I'm like, okay, great. So he made out, and so he's not working in the family business, but he made out, and he's got a lot of money. He's a dentist in Boston. Okay, can't go wrong with that. That was cool. But that was nice walking in there because it hasn't changed. It didn't change from like 1981 to 2010. And you know, it's still there because every once in a while I look in the old neighborhood on Google Maps. It's still there. Look at Google Maps in Boston, the North End, Bova Bakery in Boston's North End, and look at the pictures. Which reminds me, I got all those pictures. I need to add them. I'm going to add them. I'm going to add my pictures to the Bova Bakery. But man, oh man. So what we did was, my wife was, is that good? I'm like, yeah. Is that good? Yeah. So look, see, here's one side of the case to the other side of the case. Everything in between is good. She got some, I don't know, we got like a chocolate popover or something, and lobster tails, and of course a bunch of cannolis. And then we took them to a restaurant called Pompeii, which I don't know if, you're always looking over your shoulder to see if is Edna still there? Is he smoking or whatever? But yeah, I took her to an authentic Italian restaurant, and the guys behind me were all speaking in Italian. And my wife told me that she actually did not really like the food because it was so completely different than what she was used to. But I told her that I personally have never been to Italy. However, living in the North End, these were Italian people, and they were first generation. They came here as immigrants, and here being, there. Open restaurants, and they were cooking and using the same ingredients, and I fully believe that this is authentic Italian food created by real Italians. And I said it's not going to be like the fake Italian food that you get in Taiwan, which is a big problem. Because I'll go someplace and I'll say new restaurant opening, and I said, and they call it, it's the word is Italien, which just means Italy noodles. That covers everything. It's just like having a restaurant that you said pasta, and that's it, covers everything. And you go there, and it's always the same thing. It's pasta with cream and bacon, pasta with pesto, pasta with squid ink, and it's it's a rubber stamp. And I see these restaurants, and I'll go to my wife, we'll come back next year and it won't be here, and it's not. And in all probability, however, if some of those people from the North End were to come here and open a restaurant, it probably wouldn't be successful because it doesn't satisfy people in the same way. It doesn't meet the expectations that they have based on what they're used to. And I will tell you the same thing happens with Chinese food. Because you have Chinese food in America that's made by Chinese people. And the focus is a little bit different. See, Italians, in my opinion, the ones that I knew that own restaurants and worked in restaurants, they were more concerned with preserving the culture, preserving those flavors, and introducing those flavors to make them authentic than they were about making money. The Chinese were all about making money, and they would cut corners and use cornstarch or baking soda or something or whatever, so a lot of for example, the yellow mustard, Chinese mustard, that's common in Chinese restaurants. I want you guys to type a number. In 17 years living in Taiwan and traveling to Hong Kong 5 times, having been to Malaysia, having been to China multiple times, and Thailand, and Laos, and Philippines, and all these places around here, and eating Chinese food and Taiwan-style food, how many times have I ever run across yellow mustard in a Chinese food restaurant? How many times? Tell me what you think. It is worth saving. It is. And those flavors in the North End were profound and memorable. I can still, this is how, I mean, it's amazing about flavors and tastes. We remember aromas by actually smelling them. We remember flavors by actually tasting them. And if you don't believe me, listen to the sound of my voice. I want you to breathe in right now, and I want you to smell a rose. You smell it, don't you? You smell the rose, don't you? It's real, isn't it? No other sense is like that. If you close your eyes and imagine a place, you cannot imagine it in that detail. If you imagine that you smell ground pepper, okay? You grind the pepper and you go, and you smell it, what happens? Oh, literally, you want to sneeze. It's amazing. That's why food has such a connection, and why it's such a bonding, it's such a bonding agent between people and cultures. Yeah, it's incredible. It's a lost opportunity if you're only in it for the money, which I understand, it's okay. So how many times have I run across yellow mustard? I have, and I've counted the times. But how many times have I run across yellow mustard in Asia? So my wife and I, we went out with my sister's oldest son and his wife. Flavors remind me most of my childhood. Excuse me. That's a very good question, Fides. Evidently nobody wants to take me up on the challenge of how many times I've run across the mustard. So you can type a number, take a guess. I remember Cheerios a lot, and Cocoa Puffs. My mother used to make what she called goulash. Now, being a kid, I have no idea what goulash is. When I moved to Boston, they called it American chop suey. It's basically ziti and spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce. But my mom, with ground beef, but my mom made a particularly good version of it. At least I thought so. But by my culinary standards now, it would be very bland, because my palate's completely changed after living in Asia, and that happens with people. You can tell people who are new here by what they order, how they eat, and what what spices they're into. But yeah, so in Taiwan we have access to Thai food and Vietnam food, and it's made by Thai people, it's made by Vietnam people, but you go to the Italian restaurants and it's Taiwanese people. And I even went to a Thai restaurant in Kaohsiung. Oh yeah, well, I hear you. But how many times would you guess that I've actually run across yellow mustard here? But it's common in every table, in every Chinese restaurant almost. Not the Mandarin style ones, but all the Cantonese ones, certainly. And they dip them in egg rolls. And those deep fried egg rolls, I don't run into those too many times, but that's a Cantonese style. I do like them. But my wife and I went into P.F. Chang's, you know that, in Greensboro, right? Yeah, okay, so you know what I'm talking about. But is it like what I described, or is it something different? Because I did look, I think it's a Hungarian dish, right? And I did look up goulash, and I was like, that's not what my mom made, but that's what she called it. So we went to P.F. Chang's, and I got a kick out of the menu because there were a couple Chinese words on the menu that they had used weirdly. Like, for example, the Chinese word for fire is huo, and it looks like flames on a pile of wood. And they use that for the word spicy to say that it was hot. They would put fire next to it instead of the correct word, which would be la. And my wife saw that, and she goes, when we travel, she almost exclusively speaks in Chinese, and she said to me, look at this word, it means it's spicy, but it's fire. And we started laughing. So the waiter comes over, and he starts talking about some ancient Chinese dynasty, and their big thing was dumplings, and we do the same dumplings here. And what makes the flavor different about this dynasty was that they had a special sauce, and I'm going to show you right now how to make this special sauce. And I'm looking at my wife like, what the heck is he talking about? So there's some special sauce from some Chinese dynasty a couple hundred years ago or something. He's going to make the sauce. I see 3 ingredients on the table. There's a soybean-based la jiao, or hot or spicy, sauce, and there's vinegar, and there's soy sauce. So there's a little bowl there, and he takes the soy sauce and he goes, and he takes the vinegar and he goes, and he takes 1 spoonful of the hot sauce and goes, and that's this special secret, dynastic recipe. And I gotta tell you, I was like biting my tongue just so I wouldn't laugh at this. I mean, I never heard anything so ridiculous. Okay, so there's 3 ingredients on the table that happen to be the same ingredients of this secret dynasty, and so the dumplings came out and they were good. And the truth is, I would have put soy sauce, and I would have put vinegar, and I would have put hot sauce all together, in the little dipping bowl. Didn't need this waiter to tell me, and the story was cute, I guess. I guess some people believe it, but okay. Well, my mom didn't put the celery in, but yeah, and yeah, the tomato sauce. So there you go. Yeah. And she made it with little elbows too. And we would always take that green container of the Kraft ground Parmesan, right? And you slide the top, right? And you got to bang it because it always gets stuck. And then you shake it until your mom goes, "That's enough. That's enough." Okay. Because you can't have too much Parmesan cheese, right? That's the other thing. So we've gone 1 hour and 54 minutes. Dave in Osaka loves the longer stream. So Dave, it's for you, man. I'm getting tired. It is now. Wow, it's 20 minutes until 1. Had all this food talk. Holy cow. Now I want to go to 7-Eleven, because 7-Eleven has these little packets of frozen spaghetti with sauce. They're 49 NT. Folks, it's like $1.25. And it's a really nice portion of it, and they throw it in the microwave. And so they microwave it there, and you just walk home, and it's still hot when you get home. And this spaghetti, which I tried, is actually very good. So now I gotta fight against the urge, because I know what'll happen. It's great seeing you too. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna. But you know what'll happen, because I've had a little rum. If I go in there, they also have a large tub of it that's not frozen, it's fresh. And Taiwan 7-Eleven has a master chef. I don't know if they do in the States, but they have a master chef. And Taiwan 7-Eleven has like a newsletter, right? And it, pictures and stuff in. It's like a newspaper, and they show the chef, and it got his name. And he designs the stuff, and he's really good. And he designed a cheese and sliced hot dog, and the hot dogs are really good, topped spaghetti with a lot of sauce, because a lot of times people don't sauce things enough, right? You buy a pizza, the sauce is not enough and the spaghetti's not enough. A decent sized mound of pasta, a decent sized mound of sauce, and then cheese and sliced hot dogs, and that's like $2.50. Yeah, I know. And I looked on the back, and it's 80 grams of carbohydrates. It's 80. Yeah, well, you got the real thing where they brought out a big round of it, right? And it could be used for money, and you know, it's currency in a lot of societies. And so, you know, if I go to 7-Eleven and I get that bigger tub, the 80, you know, grams of carbohydrates, I'm gonna have to fast another 2 weeks just to put that off. I would get up, not tomorrow, because I would get up on Friday and I'd be about 117 again. So I'm not gonna do that. Ugh. It's such a nice night though. I might just turn the camera on, because this is a lounge chair, and kick back and just close my eyes, because it's really nice. And Mars is out, and I see Jupiter's out too. Fantastic. It's too bad that Taiwan is not really a suitable place for a lot of astronomy, but it's a good part of the world to be in though for astronomy due to the, you know, proximity. But you guys take care. Thank you so much for joining. Always a pleasure to see you. Nice to see you too, Coco. Thank you, Mike and Fides and Ken and Dean and Michael and gosh, other Dean, 2 Deans, and my goodness, so I can't remember everybody. So okay, I will. So Konjac is another name. Okay, I'll check that out. Let me see. Let me do this right here. If I can do this. Yeah, I just took a screen cap. Yeah, stay out of carbs, and carbs stay out of me too. No, you're right about that. So carbs, back in the old days, man. Carbs is part of a car. We didn't worry about eating it. It was just, you know, it's part of. Watch your carbs, man. No, they're in tune. Yeah, I got dual carbs on my MG. They're working good. So yeah, well, you're not going to have that, because a sick population is a population that can be gleaned for money. And we could talk about that further, but it'll probably get my YouTube channel canceled, because I think that the end game is vaccine, ovaries, population control, bone marrow, leukemia, and drain your bank account trying to cling to life. Then you die, everybody's dead, and we got the money. That's what I think. But what do I know? Guys, take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. And don't take that last part too seriously.